Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I want to talk about money management today and how you can do it in your 20s to set yourself up for your 30s, 40s, and beyond. It can be really difficult to know what to do with money when you get it. And I know that because when I was about 17 or 18 and was in undergrad, I would be making money and I wouldn't really know what to do with it. I felt like it was too much to actually have it. So I would save it, spend it, or give it away. And that's really not the best thing that you can be doing with money, obviously. So when I got to grad school, I realized I couldn't be doing that. Like, what do I look like? Getting money and spending it and having no food to eat at the end of the week, being away. I was all the way in Pittsburgh and I had to figure out what to do with extra money when I had it. So I created a budget plan and I stuck to it. I knew that, okay, maybe once a week I'll go out with my friends and I have like $100 allocated to actually doing that. Maybe 200, maybe it was a little more. But I would have a certain amount set aside knowing that that is what I'm going to spend. And if the third week of that month came and it was going to go over, then I was saying no to any type of outing because I knew that if I did say yes, that I would be putting myself back in some way, shape, or form because of that budget that I made. So today we're gonna go through my modified, updated, current budget that I use today in order to really set me up for success. And if you want access to it, it's in my description and I'll be screen sharing so we could go along and see every part of it so you could see how I work it. And if you'd like it, go ahead and go to the link in my description. Once you open it, at the top, you just click on that link where it says access spreadsheet here. So that spreadsheet is going to open like this and just make a copy. I already have a copy over here and I've actually pre-filled it with some made up numbers for income and savings, everything that you see on here. So let's first look at this section over here. So let's just say that this is February or March and your starting checking is $32.50. This column here is always going to be the projected amount that you believe you're going to spend or save in that column. So the starting checking for this month, my made up number is $32.50. So that's our checking account. We're gonna put that really in this month. We made 30 really at the start of this month, so this is going to be the starting checking. At the start of this month, we really had $3,300 in our account. So this is the actual amount column, and then column D is the difference. So if it's not in red, then that means that you're doing good. So you see that it has a formula already. It's subtracting the two columns from each other in order to give you that difference column number. So let's move on to income number 1. I put $2,500. Let's say we actually made $2,500. It'll come up as clear in this column over here. It's saying that we did good. We hit exactly the target we needed to. And we'll continue doing that. We actually made that $1,500 for the second income, which might be a side hustle, and $500 for maybe that babysitting or dog sitting gig that we have. Your reimbursement for the miles that you drove at work, you got back that $100 that you were expecting to get. And so everything is in the clear for your income. Now, let's look at savings. So I would definitely say for savings, you want to make sure that you're putting aside 30%, 15 to 30% of your income. If you can do that 30%, definitely do it. It will bring you far. And you won't have to stress when major things come around. You won't have to spend on your credit card when you have issues that arise. You'll be able to go straight to your savings and it'll be like your personal bank that you're going to. How nice. Who wouldn't want their own personal bank that they can go to? So here I put that for emergency savings, we are taking out $700. So I literally just put in like minus $700. And so in the C column, I'm going to put that we did take out $700 for our emergency savings. And so here in this current savings column, we're gonna actually put equals 700 because we added that to our savings. It doesn't get populated into the full amount for the month that we're actually making or taking away. And this row right here is actually exempt from the final total since it's being added to a separate account. All of this right here is just looking at our checkings. So we actually did take out the 700 for our emergency savings. We have a splurge account because once in a while we like to buy a little something nice. So $500 a month for a splurge account probably is a bit much, but this is what we put here. So let's say we felt like it was a bit much, so we only took out $250 for the splurge. We have an extra $250 for the month that we could allocate probably somewhere else. You don't have to, but at least you're not in the red for this row right here. Traveling, we're taking out $100 for traveling because we like to go places. So we actually do take out $100. And so again, for these two, we're gonna go back up here so that we can also be calculating our total savings and do plus $250 and plus $100. Now looking at investments, because this section is called savings and investments, we're going to look at the index fund. We're taking out $200 for the index fund. And for the Roth IRA, some people say Roth IRA. I like to say IRA. So for the Roth IRA, Roth IRA. people be getting me with the IRA, but okay, we're taking out $500 for the Roth IRA. And we're moving on to the next section. Beauty and wellness. For my ladies out here, I know some of you get your lashes done. I know some of you get your nails done, waxing, hair. So we put all of that here. So lashes, we're doing minus 100. You actually spent this. Let's say all of these, you actually spent exactly what it's saying. And cleaning supplies. So nothing in the red. Now, recreation. Let's say you went out and you put the equal sign minus everything that you spent. So maybe the first weekend in this month, you spent $50 going out with your friends. Another weekend, you spent $100 going out with your friends. And then the weekend after that, you're not really looking at your budget anymore. You spend $75. And then you go out in that last weekend and you spend another $100. Now you're in the red for $225. But if we scroll up here, we see that you were actually under $250 here. You had an extra $250 for this column, and then you started with an extra $50. That's not saying that you should go and spend in other areas, but this isn't going to hurt your final amount because it's balanced out by other things that were actually under budgeted. So moving on to takeout, let's say you actually spend $50. You're good. No vacations or trips, but if you have any, you could list them here. If you're going to Tulum and I don't know, somewhere else, you could put it right there. So next section is debt repayment. You can list this all here. Let's say you have an Amex card and you're paying $35 a month minus 35, and you actually pay that 35, so on and so forth. You fill that out. Then you have your bills and utilities. You just put exactly what it was, minus 220, minus 120. Maybe heating and oil was a little less, minus 450. You have an extra $50. Your phone bill was the same, and your Wi-Fi was exactly 80. And then you have your subscriptions. Subscriptions rarely change unless they're like Apple Music and they want to go up $1 or whatever. But we're not going to talk about that. I'm pretty sure it's $10.99 right now. But we're going to put that $9.99. And then I love Canva. Minus $14.99. So this next section is miscellaneous. I feel like these things don't really fit in anywhere else. I think there's another row for home. So we're gonna go ahead and delete this. But let's say gas was a little more expensive than you had thought, an extra $10. And then other 20. Let's say you didn't spend anything there. You didn't have any extra expenses. So at the end of the month, you had projected, remember this row, column B is projected amount, column C is the actual amount. So you had projected that your end of month checking would be $3,758, but it was really $3,893. And so you had an additional $135. This should not be pink. It shouldn't be pink because you are actually under budget, $135. So imagine here we had not spent that extra $225 or the extra $10, then we would have been more than like $300 under budget. At the end of the month, you see your net savings is $7,550. And what this spreadsheet does is it continues to populate the next month. So you know your income already and the starting checking that you're gonna have. And you just pre-populate these for what you intend on spending, what your projected amount is. And it really does help at the end of maybe 3 months to look back and really see where you're in the red, where you're spending more money than you need to be spending, and seeing where you really want to cut back. So I'll also show you this section right here. So let's say you do have an American Express card and you have a remaining balance of $1,000. You're not paying it month to month like you should. You have a Visa card and the balance of $2,000, and you have a Discover card for $500. Your minimum payment for this one, let's say, is $50. Your minimum payment for this is $75, and your minimum for this is $35. So you literally have a table of all of your cards that you owe money to, when you actually owe them, your estimated payoff date, and you even have your interest rate. Let's say you have a 24.99% for this, 22% for Visa, and then for Discover, it's 26.88. Those interest rates are usually very high. So what this shows you is you can either go from the largest amount that you owe to the lowest, or you can start at the highest interest rate and pay that down, because the cards with the higher interest rates and higher payment can actually hurt you in the long run. And so if you could knock out this $500 with this 26.88, it would really help you. And if you know that an increased payment of maybe you can afford to pay $200, and then you can finish paying it off in 3 months. So if we're going by this, and this is January, then by April, you'll be done paying. You could use this chart to really figure out what you owe, when you owe it, and how much more you can afford to be paying. And once you figure that out, you go back to the main tracker and you put in how much you're going to pay off. See if it works with your budget. It'll auto-populate to show you if this number actually makes sense for you at the end of the month. Of course, if you go into the negatives, you're paying back too much, more than you can handle that month. So you want to pay attention to your sum at the end of the month and what it's projected to be, with you paying off your credit cards at a higher rate than you were before. So I really hope that this was helpful. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me in my comments. And again, the link to this budget that I just went through is in my description if you're interested in accessing it. And if any of this information really resonated with you or it helps you in any way, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.